We're well into our unit learning about prepositions. You have your first preposition quiz coming up, and we're working on memorizing these words so that we can recognize them right away when we see them in a sentence. Now, we never see prepositions by themselves. We always see them with modifiers and a noun, because if we see them by themselves or with a verb, then we know they're not acting as prepositions. So let's take a look at a couple of examples here. On is a preposition. It's on our list. And then we've got some modifiers, the and small, dining room, all modifying which table I'm talking about. So that's the noun or the pronoun at the end. So always starts with a preposition, always ends with a noun, can have modifiers in the middle, but it doesn't always have to. After is my preposition, the, high school football, all modify which game I'm talking about. To is the preposition, my favorite grandma's, and then house is the noun. And I want to point out that when we see a noun like grandma and we put an apostrophe S at the end, we've changed it to being possessive, and now it's doing the job of an adjective or a modifier. So it's not a noun anymore. I'm not talking about my grandma. I'm talking about her house. So it's a modifier. And the last example, to the high school football game. And I do that to kind of show you can put different prepositions and move things around. We've talked a lot about varying our word choice, so we're not using the same words over and over again. So if you notice that you've used after a lot in your writing, then maybe you want to switch to a different preposition. You can do that. So what we're really going to start talking about today is what makes them so confusing. So in your notebook, I want you, if you are in person, we glued this in, and we're really on the next blank negative page of our journal. And we're going to, it looks a lot like what we did for notes for prepositions, but you'll see that it says, what makes them so confusing? Number 1, prepositional phrase versus infinitives. So you're watching the screencast, and I want you to be filling in the notes here to show you the difference. And then you're going to do the example at the bottom of your page. You're going to highlight prepositional phrases. We show infinitives by putting brackets around them. Brackets are these little box things at the end. And we do that in order to find the main subject and the verb. All right, so here goes. What makes prepositional phrases so confusing? Number 1, there are 3 things that prepositional phrases are often confused as. The first one is that sometimes they look like an infinitive. So we really need to know this formula, that a prepositional phrase equals a preposition plus modifiers plus a noun, so that we can differentiate it from a different formula, which is an infinitive. An infinitive can look like a prepositional phrase because it has to at the beginning, and to is one of our prepositions. But instead of a noun, it's followed by a verb. So let's see what this looks like. Mom wanted to give the money to me. I see to in this sentence twice. Here, in yellow, it's a prepositional phrase. To whom? To me. Me is the noun or pronoun at the end, and it's working to describe here. Now I see another to, and I look at the word after it. That's not a noun. Give is an action. That's something I can do. To give. So I can tell this is not a prepositional phrase. It's called an infinitive. And so we're going to put brackets around them. To is the only word that can be at the beginning of an infinitive. Okay? Prepositional phrases, we have maybe 50 different prepositions that it could be, and to just happens to be one of them. So whenever we see the preposition to, we need to stop and think just for another second and look at what's following it. Is it a noun or a pronoun, or is it a verb? Because if it's a verb, it's an infinitive. All right. There we go. All right, so you have some examples down at the bottom, and we're going to do the first one together. It says the players went to the gym to play a night game. So you're going to keep your list out to look for prepositions, but primarily we're going to be working with the preposition to. I see it twice here. Maybe you want to underline it when you see it. So now I'm going to see what follows the to. To the gym is the prepositional phrase, so we're going to highlight it. To has play after it. Now, I know that play could be a noun if I was talking about going to a play, but that's not what it's talking about. It's talking about the action of playing. To play a night game. So this is not a prepositional phrase, it's an infinitive. So I want you to put brackets around it. Now you try it. Since Tuesday, he wanted to play games in the lounge. You try it. Look for the prepositions first. So I see since is a preposition on my list. I see to is a preposition on my list. And I see in is a preposition on my list. So I'm going to think about my formula for a prepositional phrase. Is there a noun after since? Since Tuesday. Tuesday is a noun. That's a prepositional phrase. Here's a good example of a prepositional phrase that does not have a modifier in the middle. Okay, to play, and I see games here, so that's a noun, but this doesn't follow our rule because a prepositional phrase can only have an have modifiers in the middle, and so that doesn't work. To play is acting here like an infinitive. Play is a verb. And then I had another preposition in. I want to see, does it follow the formula? Preposition plus modifier plus noun. A lounge is a place. So, yep, that's a preposition. Okay, try number 3. John drove to his house to eat his lunch. I see to here. And I see to here. So now I'm going to look after the to. Is it a verb immediately following it? To his. Can I his? That's not an action that I could do. So it's not an infinitive. Now let's see if I can find a preposition or a modifier in a noun. To what? To his house. House is a noun. And his modifies. Whose house am I talking about? His house. I'm going to look right after to see if there's a verb. To what? To eat. Eat is an action. That's something I can do. So I'm going to put brackets around it. That's an infinitive. I'm going to do one more with you, and then I'm going to let you go do the others. I see to. I see to again. I see another to. And I see for, which I know is a preposition. So now I'm going to look immediately after the to. Do I see a verb? To go. Go is definitely an action, so I'm going to put brackets around it. That is an infinitive. To her. Can you her? Is that an action you can do? No. So to her room. Room is a noun. Her describes whose room I'm talking about. So that is a prepositional phrase. Here's another to. I'm going to look at the word following it. To study. Is that something you can do? Is that an action? It is. I can study. I hope you're studying for your prepositions quiz. So that's an infinitive. For is a preposition. For what am I talking about? For English is a noun. So that is a prep phrase. Now you're going to continue to go on and try number 5. Tom ran to the phone to call his girlfriend. Number 6. We walked to the courthouse to sign papers for the adoption, and I think I'm going to tell you that there are 3 in this one, if that helps. Oopsie. So there are 3 prepositions or infinitives in that one. This one has 2. Let's look at number 7. The boy went to his room to sleep, for he was tired. This only has 2, and there's a trick one in here, so be careful. And then number 8, she goes to the library to work on her paper on weekends. This one has 4. Okay. All right, so you make sure that you have this done in your notebook, and we will be going over this together tomorrow. And the big takeaway here is you need to make sure you know that a prepositional phrase does not have a verb in it, has a noun, and that an infinitive is to plus a verb. So we have a new formula that you're working on now.